So players that we were able to retain, Cam Sutton, we were able to re-sign him to a 2-year, $9 million deal. Like the deal a lot, actually, man. But we're going to dive into it a little bit more. I almost backtracked what I just said.
It seems like that happened a week ago or a month ago.
Ain't that the truth, right? Cam Sutton, 2-year, $9 million deal. Then they were able to retain Zach Banner on another 2-year, $9.5 million deal. And then obviously they tendered Robert Spillane. I wasn't sure if we were able to get that in on our previous episode. I don't think we did.
We talked about it briefly when we were discussing Avery Williamson.
Yeah, because I think what ended up happening too was they tendered him, but it wasn't signed at the time, whereas now everything's officially done. He is tendered. He is under contract. And then obviously we talked about Marcus Allen in the previous episode as well. Now for the players that we have lost, obviously Vince Williams was the big release yesterday. Then from there, Tyson Alualu, who's a little bit of a surprise here. He went to Jacksonville on a 2-year, $6 million deal. Shout out to my dog, Money Mike Hilton. Signs with the Cincinnati Bengals on a 4-year, $24 million deal. Then we had Matt Filer. Shout out to Matt Filer. Man, if you haven't heard his interview, definitely check it out. He signed with the Chargers on a 3-year, $21 million deal. And then my dog, Mr. Bud Dupree, went out there and broke the bank with Tennessee Titans, 5-year, $82.5 million. I almost cried a tear of joy. That's my dog right there. I was so happy for that, man. So those are the current deals that have been done. Thus far, we're still obviously keeping track of everything, as is very fluid right now, as you can imagine. But to start, we will react to the guys that we re-signed first, and then from there, we'll talk about the guys that we've lost. So to start out with Cam Sutton, the 2-year, $9 million deal, as I was alluding to earlier, I do like that deal. I think that money-wise, it pays him good, in terms of giving him that substantial pay bump from what he was getting under his rookie contract. But at the same time, it's still a little bit of a transitional deal, meaning he's going to get an opportunity to show that he could be the number one slot corner. If injuries happen, he's going to get an opportunity to bounce out there and play the number one or number two cornerback slot as well. But the way the deal is structured, the team also has the flexibility that if after 1 year Cam balls out to that extent, they can sign him to a longer deal, more substantial deal, which will probably be a lot more cap friendly as well going forward. So with that being the case for Cam Sutton, I like it. I am a little bit leery of the thought process that, he's just this major upgrade for Mike Hilton, because as we said before, different styles. We thought Mike Hilton fit what they wanted to do a lot better, but organizationally, the Steelers have always viewed Mike Hilton as the better player because he always gets the opportunities before Cam Sutton. It was never Cam Sutton's job and then Mike Hilton came in and took it from him. It was always Mike Hilton's job. So I just, I'm interested to see how my dog responds to this role of now you are the guy at slot corner and potentially going to be bumping out to even bigger role than that. So how do you respond to that? It'll be interesting, but I do think I think he's ready for the challenge though.
Yeah, agreed. It's either that or the Steelers also think very highly of James Pierre.
Very true. Yeah.
So I'm with you, dude. I really like the deal. We talked about it on the last podcast. I was worried that we were going to lose both Mike Hilton and Cam Sutton, so I'm happy that we got one of them back. At the $4.5 million per year, 2 years, $9 million, I think that was maybe a little bit more than we were expecting, no? Which I'm not opposed to at all.
But hold on. Remember, though, we said that his market could be anywhere from 2 to 3 to 6 to 7, just depending on how teams viewed him and in terms of what was more intriguing about him, his slot corner versatility or his ability to go out there and play on the outside as a 1 or 2 corner. And we also know he could play safety. We said some teams might pay a little bit more for that if they are really intrigued by that. But it was good to see that the Steelers actually valued what he brought to the table and compensated him in that. He's kind of in the middle of what we spoke about from a number standpoint at that 4.5 range. So it's good to see that the Steelers at least respected him enough to want to pay him to that level and not let him be gone as well, because this dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, because this dude, we've seen him, even though he was never the main slot corner because we had Mike Hilton, he was very impactful and played a ton of snaps these past couple of years. So it was definitely good to see them be able to retain him because, as we already listed some of these other names, we did lose some key contributors defensively.
And you mentioned this. It doesn't really seem like a deal that has much risk because the cap hit for this season is around $2 million.
Yep.
So I'm assuming they spaced out the rest of the cap hit for next season. I don't know what that would be,
Yeah.
probably like 7 million, 7 million. But if, like you said, they could start renegotiating for a longer deal next season, then there's that aspect. But also, even if you just want to let the deal play out, it's not like we're going to lose a ton of value with Cam Sutton next year. We're going to have a lot more cap space. So if it is a $6 or $7 million hit, I don't think it's going to be that detrimental as it would be if that was transferred over to this year.
No, man, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And that's the bigger reason why we were like, I really like that deal, because money wise, the team has flexibility. But at the same time, Cam gets his compensation. But at the same time, like I said, for the team, if they want to move on in a year, they can move on. If they want to extend him in a year, they can move and extend him as well. And it's not one of those deals that you're looking and you're saying, gosh, man, you just killed us what we're trying to do, for the next year or two if this doesn't work out. This type of deal doesn't do that. So, yeah, I definitely like it, man. Definitely do.
Yeah, and there's that aspect of let's see what Cam Sutton can do.
I mean, because he could
And I'm excited about
right?
that a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He could definitely flourish. I went back and was watching him when he played outside corner that last game, week 17 against the Browns, and he looked good. He looked good. So to me, I'm definitely excited about him. And remember, he has definitely played well on the outside. So not only, does he give us that reassurance at slot corner, but I definitely could see him potentially being in the works, if not this year, because obviously you still have Joe and Steven, but that will make this team a lot more confident that he could potentially take on one of those roles a year from now if they want to make any more moves from a cap standpoint. So like I said, keeping a guy like that in-house, I definitely like.